Okay, so things get a little bit complicated here, but they get interesting. Basically, the tables in this section are the breakdown of who sends likes to who. So I know a lot of these headers say reactions, but it just means likes, just the cry laugh emoji. Here are the raw numbers. So, for example, um, I send I've sent 615 likes to Jimmo. He has sent me 427 in return. So the senders here on the y-axis and the receivers on the x-axis here. Things to pull out from that. That's the most, 615 there. The least is Buzzer, who has liked a grand total of one of Spenko's messages. Spenko's column is very red here, but that's really just because this doesn't account for the messages sent. So Spenko's not received many because he's not sent many messages in total. So onto the second graph here. This is the percentage of Y's reactions given to X. The reactions given to the receiver divided by the total. So in other words, it's a breakdown of what percentage of your reactions you sent to who. So, for example, on this one, we'll look at Tom's row. He sent 15.9% of his likes to me, more than a quarter to Jimmo there, only 1.67 to Pounder, 0.51% to Spensley. So if you kind of look at the colours here, compared to what's around them, he sent a lower than average amount to Robbo and me, and a higher than average amount to Frank here, who's green with yellow around him, and Jimmo, which is kind of dark green here. And for example, yeah, this is another one that's kind of out of place there. Buzzer sent a higher than average amount of his to Natch. Onto the next table. This is kind of, but this is like switched around. Imagine. So this is the percentage of X's reactions received from Y. So going down the column, that'll add up to 100%. So you can see here that Jimmo has received almost 30% of his total reactions from me, and in fact, I've given everyone their highest proportion of reactions. Yeah, I'd spend too much time on the chat, as I've said before. So the highest here is me to George. That's the highest out of any of these percentages. I account for 30% of George's likes. Some outliers here. We've got Tom to Jimmo making up a high percentage of Jimmo's likes, making up almost a fifth of Frank's likes, and quite a lot of buzzers as well. And Frank, in return, making up quite a high percentage of Tom's and Lexi's as well, compared to those around him. Cool. And so this here is the breakdown as a percentage of the total messages that we have sent. So, for example, the highest percentage is, where is it? There we go. It's me to Spensley, so that's 1 in 26. I like 1 in 26 of Spensley's messages. And the lowest we have here is Lexi to Frank. So Lexi likes about 1 in 2,000 of Francis' messages. I'll send these later so you guys can look over them individually. Not a whole lot super interesting in my opinion on this. And this is the most interesting table we've got here, in my opinion. This is what I've called the preference index. So This is the number of likes that Y is given to X, like the other tables, divided by the number of reactions sent by Y, divided by the number of reactions received by X. So basically, this shows bias. This shows um, how much people like each other's messages relative to how many they send and how many the other person receives from everyone else, um, which is quite interesting. So first, we'll go through these green squares here. Um, Basically, the more green it is and the higher the number, the more you are biased towards this person. So Jimmo, we've got quite high bias towards me, Tom, and Lexi. George has got quite a high bias towards Spensley. Tom has got a bias towards Jimmo, Frank. Spensley has, sorry, let's go. Frank has got a bias towards Tom, Robbo. Spensley's got a high bias towards me, George, and Lexi's got a high bias towards Tom. So me, Pounder, Robbo, Nadge, we don't have like a super high bias towards anyone. 117, that's the highest for me. Yeah, Pounds is 119. Yeah, Robbo 125, not crazy. Yeah, Nadge, neither is Nadge. He's highest is towards Buzzer 122, not a whole lot at all. So now we'll look at the reds, and this is who you're biased against. The lower the number, this is who you hate basically, or who you don't find funny. Let's say that. So we've got Jimmo towards Nadge. We've got Tom towards George, Pounder, Robbo, and Spensley. We've got Pounder towards Tom and Lexi and Buzzer. We've got Robbo towards Tom and Lexi. We've got Spank towards Tom, Frank, and Buzzer. We've got Lexi towards Pounder and Frank. That's a very low one to Frank. And we've got Buzzer towards Robbo, Frank, and Spenko. That's a very low one as well. So me, Frank, and George, we're not heavily biased against anyone. So the data's saying I'm the least biased. I'm the most impartial. I don't really like anyone in particular. I don't really hate anyone in particular. I like you all the same, guys. And then finally, we have the preference ratio. So this is basically the preference index of you towards them divided by the preference index of them towards you. So it's whose messages you have a preference for, who don't have a preference for you back. Pardon me. So because of this graph, it just mirrors through the middle. This is just the reciprocal, basically. So we only really need to look at one side. But the big difference is here. We see the really obvious one there is Lexi towards Frank. So Frank likes quite a lot of Lexi's messages on average. Lexi really doesn't like Frank's at all. The next one we've got is Spenko and Frank. So similar story, but not quite as extreme as Lexi and his hatred of Francis. That's toward Pounder. Who would have thought that one? Yeah, Naz doesn't like Pounder, but Pounder likes Nadge. And then we've got Robbo and Lexi. So Lexi's getting it back here a bit. Yeah, Lexi likes Robbo's stuff. Robbo doesn't really like Lexi's. Same story for Tom and Lexi. Lexi likes Tom's. Tom doesn't like Lexi as much, and Buzzer and Lexi. So this is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but Lexi's got some haters apparently. Then we've got George to Buzzer. George doesn't really find Buzzer stuff that funny compared to what Buzzer finds funny about George's stuff. Me and Spank, that's the next one. So apparently, I don't like Spank that much compared to how much he likes me, which I've got to say is on point. And then finally, Spenko towards Jimmo. Yeah, there we have it. Say what you want about that, guys, but the data is showing who actually likes who, who's a good friend, how one sided your friendships are. Um, yeah, if there's anything else you want me to do an analysis into, just let me know. Like I was saying in the first video, I want to do stuff with like time spans and graphing over time, stuff with replies as well. We could do a similar thing like to React, but actually replying to messages that will probably be quite illuminating. Or if this is very invasive, also let me know, and I won't do anything else. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing this. It was more for me than for you guys, but hope you guys enjoyed it.